Hello YouTube. This is Baylor Mage. Welcome back, everybody. And we're a little bit of an update to our Poison SRS League start. It is still coming along quite swimmingly. The big news is that the experimental thing that we were doing with Minion Leech is definitely not working the way we'd hoped. There is one of two things wrong with it. It's kind of a guess. We don't know which one. It's either leeching roughly 10% of what it's supposed to, so like 0.1% instead of 1%, or the instant leech portion is not working at all. I'm suspecting the instant leech portion isn't working at all, because either taking the instant leech or not taking the instant leech doesn't seem to make a difference. But I am still definitely leeching enough because I'm able to run you cannot regen maps and I still have enough recovery. So as far as whether or not you should change to it, I don't think you should. But if you're already doing the same thing, I don't know if it's worth changing back either. They're both pretty much of a muchness thing going on here. I don't really feel specifically more tanky than I did in the past, but also not really less tanky than I did in the past. But we did make quite a few upgrades today, and as you can see in the background, what we started doing for money, because finding items on the ground wasn't working out for me, is we started doing a destructive play Shaper Guardian rotation of just doing like 4 Shaper maps, and then the invitation, and then 4 Shaper maps, and then the invitation, and just on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And that worked great most of the day. It definitely turned a profit. I don't know if it was the best profit in the world, but it did let me do some upgrades. It did let me buy new Ghastly Jewels that were good. It did let me upgrade to the United in Dream, so we got that as well. It did let me get a new helmet that's much better. And it has left me with some currency in my stash tab, a few hundred chaos and a few divines sitting there. So that's been quite nice. But what I will say is that I missed something most of the day that probably would have made this farm significantly better. And that we're going to jump into game to show you. So something I missed, I don't have any of left because I ran 2 or 3 of them. And unfortunately, it's too late in the day and I'm incredibly tired, so I can't remember the name of the Domination Scarab. But we've got these Domination Scarabs that add 2 shrines to a map. This Domination Scarab, which adds 1 unusual shrine, which I would have stopped using. And this one here at the end that's got the little flare on it that I can't remember the name of now, that was only about 30 chaos. And what it does is it makes it so that a map boss defends every shrine. So if we take as many of these as we can fit in our map device and 1 of those and run our Shaper Guardians, you end up with the base, usually 2 shrines from your Atlas, plus 2 extra shrines for each Scarab, which we can run 3. If we've got a map device, we'll be able to run 3 of those if we've got the 4-slot map device. 5-slot map device, sorry. And 1 of the higher Domination Scarabs that make them all have bosses. Then run Domination on the map device as well. And we will have a ton of map bosses through every single map. And each one of those can drop the upgraded Scarab drop chance, all of the maps, the Guardian maps, more Shaper, more Synth maps, more Elder maps. Now, unfortunately, those maps are worth 15 to 20 C a piece, which is a bit lower than I was hoping for. But with the amount of Domination shrines that you can throw into the map and the amount of bosses that happen there, plus the destructive play 3 bosses at the end, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic strategy. I do have an Atlas planner right here for what I was doing, which is exactly what you would think. It is Nico to go fast, tiny bit of map sustain, plenty of shrines, the rest of the Quant and Scarab nodes that we could fit, destructive play, and all of the boss drop stuff. And that is what I did for most of the day. What I will say, definitely be able to take out bosses. Definitely don't do this while you're still on a budget. Definitely don't do this while your character is weak. And definitely don't do this if you're on like a giga clear speed character that just falls over if it gets hit, because there will be a lot of bosses around here. And for about half the day, I was also running this, where I was getting the Wildwood Wisps. That definitely ramped up the rewards and was absolutely worth it. However, it also definitely made the bosses too hard and I died too much. I don't think I would have died if my build wasn't bugged, but I ended up having to unspec that because I did not have enough recovery to live. The Wildwood stuff is, as we should remember from last league, insane. So that's the Atlas tree I've been running for the last day and a half. That's what I've been doing to make all my money and all my upgrades. Now, let's have a look at my path of building. Right. Here we are right now. We're still running this, even though the leech portion is bugged and definitely not leeching as much, or definitely not giving me instant leech. I'm not really sure which one, but however it's bugged, it's bugged. But we're still running it. It's still going quite well. We are now up to 13.2 mil, which is quite a step up from where we were before. You can see a lot of my gear is still pretty dodge. I'm definitely playing degenerate streamer hours, but I'm definitely not having degenerate streamer luck to go with it. So a lot of the people we see out here like blasting away with super expensive builds with relatively similar play time to me, which is at the time of recording 2 days and 11 hours already. There are people who have way more money than me. This has been a pretty questionable league. We can see on my Pilfer's ring, I've dropped 2 Divines total, 6 Exalts total, and 220 Chaos total. That is the entire league of 2 days and 11 hours of degenerate gameplay. So my luck has been insanely bad, but we've made a pretty decent amount of money selling all of my boss maps. So that's been all right. This is the stage we're at right now. I will be sharing the path of building. And the big question I have is, if my build is bugged, will I continue running it? Because I already know the normal version where I take Mistress's Sacrifice and I go full block cap in the normal block. I already know what that can accomplish. I already know how that feels, how that plays. I've already got the full guide written out for that way. So if this remains bugged, I don't know if I keep playing it or not. I might be re-rolling soon. We'll see. And then, finally, for something completely separate, as a little bit of an update, just in case anybody missed the words, we got a what we're working on post today, and it is absolutely fantastic, although it does not include our leech bug. But oh my god, I know this has been a very, very poorly received league right so far. I don't necessarily agree with all the criticism except the crafting portion. That's trash. But have a quick read through this. We will link this in the description as well, just so that everybody can have a look themselves in case you haven't seen it. But let's hit some high points. We will be allowing you to itemize corpses as they drop. So you can choose to collect a corpse, itemize an item, or itemize it for free. As a result, itemizing corpses in all contexts will now be free, as opposed to currently costing 1 Chaos Orb. So no more instantly filling up your corpse menagerie, graveyard, whatever it's called. You can just press the button and it becomes an item. Fantastic. Each of the downsides in the area will now display increases to the amount of collectible corpses and all flame embers that they cause. So those downsides, apparently they had upsides and we just didn't see them. So great, at least we can see them now. We'll be increasing the collectible corpses and the all flame embers dropping relative to the difficulty of the mobs. Cool. Further increasing all flames. Cool. Adding new all flame ember packs that are more rewarding, and revisiting the rewards and pack size of the existing all flames. So all the all flames, all the maps, mobs that you're supposed to put into the map, but this is the bit where you go to launch your map and there's that little storage box over to the right where you can pull mobs on top. All of those getting way better. Huge, because it was a very good, very interesting mechanic and somewhat rewarding, but probably not rewarding enough to be worth fucking with. This should fix that. Making the devoted modifiers more rewarding, notably the one that grants currency items. So hopefully we've got no more of those. You can get a divine orb, but only if it comes from the leader of the pack and it's a Tuesday and you're hopping on your left leg while you kill it. So no more of that. Better rewards. And lowering the danger of some of the modifiers, especially at endgame. That's great. That's all fantastic. These are really good improvements. Oh boy, the crafting ones though. First, you will be able to select the base type of the item you want to craft. That's so important. That's so important. That alone, huge. That alone, huge. As such, we're removing the specific things. So they're removing all of the things that would be like, you know, can't have an aim requirement, can't have a dex requirement. The things you could use to like try and target a kind of base, all gone. You will still need bases for like Atlas bases or Stygian vices, things like that. We're increasing the chances of many of the rarer crafts like fractured modifiers and mirrored outcomes significantly. Great. But here's one of the most important bits. We are removing the tiers from most crafts. They will now have the values of the existing highest tier always. For example, being able to get 200% or 500% increased chance for lightning modifiers will now always be 500%. Also huge. Absolutely fantastic. That's absolutely the way it should be. In love with it. Same thing for modifiers to ratings, except they've made that even better. We have taken all of the crafts that affect modifier rating and compressed it into a single craft that affects all modifiers. This is actually huge. This is fantastic. This lets us do basically the thing we've always wanted to do, which is say this item right here is too good to have anything below tier 3 on it at all. And because it affects all crafts instead of all crafts of this genre, it should also affect the modifiers on items that don't have tags, which should be fantastic. This should make crafting a lot easier and a lot simpler, a lot better to get your head around, and hopefully have less reliance on outside sources. Degenerate crafters and people who really want to min-max are still definitely going to have to go to Craft of Exile and whatnot, and like look up tags to do stuff. But with these changes, it should make it a lot easier for you to just throw stuff in and have the kind of item you want come out. So hopefully that's usable at like the middle tier and low tier now, which would be great. You will now be able to directly use your coffin on your list of corpses instead of looking for the thing. Who did that anyway? You'll be able to control F the search. You currently have to click it. Whatever. We will be sorting crafts by their type instead of their level. That'll make it a lot easier. And also the sockets and links have been significantly buffed. So everything about crafting got not just better by a significant margin, but also easier to understand, and with none of the extra fluff crafts of the like shitty low tier things that you had to like read, figure out if they were good or not, and sort through. So these should all hopefully be coming this week. This is huge. It is important to know there's a lot more happening in between the cracks here, blah, 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 blah. This TLDR here this is not everything we're working on. These are just the things we think are the biggest pain points. So we're hitting these immediately, and then there will be more. So we're expecting this week. I'm excited about it. I hope you're excited about it. I hope you haven't given up on the league yet, and I will see everybody next time. Goodbye.